There's been a flurry of announcements from the COP26 climate conference in Glasgow. Various claims that countries around the world are now making decisions to limit emissions and prevent the average global temperature from rising more than 1.5 degrees Celsius above what's called the pre-industrial average. In other words, before humans started messing up the climate. The two main announcements are that countries will try to stop using coal to produce electricity and to stop deforestation by 2030. Francesca de Gasperis is from the Southern African Faith Communities Environment Institute. She joins us now. Francesca, good afternoon to you. Sorry about that. We have all of these announcements that are coming from COP26. Are they amounting to a real change in what's actually going to happen?
Well, yes. That is the 1 million or $8.5 billion US question with the new deal that the South African government has made to decarbonize or decolonize our economies. And the devil is always in the detail. It really, some of the most important questions to be asking ourselves right now, is this new and additional funding? And what is it actually going to be spent on? These are the important questions.
So these are important questions, but I mean, the bigger question is it going to work? I mean, it's a huge amount of money, sort of between 3 and 5 years is the timelines I've seen, that will be put into our economy from outside sources. I mean, 100 billion rand is going to do a lot of things for us.
It's very exciting. It could be a real game changer for us. It's been what a lot of us in civil society have been pushing government to do. Now they really won't have a reason not to stop investing in car power ships, in fracking, in offshore gas, and in coal. So, I mean, this is a real game changer for us. And let's see if our government rises to the occasion.
Look, you know, Francesca, there's a huge fight here. You've got entrenched interests. Our coal mining sector is massive. It's a big employer, and I realize that the solar power industry is a big employer in other countries. Solar power, it seems, actually employs more people than coal once you start to implement it. But, I mean, the Medupi power station, which we just finished and then broke, is supposed to use coal for 50 years. There are a lot of entrenched interests. We see this with Gwede Mantashe, the Minister of Energy. I mean, aren't you expecting possibly the biggest political fight we've seen in a long while?
Yes, I think there's issues at the political level, absolutely. Political will is key in any of these climate change initiatives, and we shouldn't underestimate the difficulties in governance. It is a huge problem, and it's something that the ANC is going to have to grapple with, and other parties who are interested in how governance is happening, as well as us as citizens. But also, I think in terms of implementation, we've seen big figures being announced to stop deforestation in Indonesia. They got $1 billion US a while back, and it really didn't go very far. So 8.5 billion sounds like a lot, but to retrain all those miners, to make sure they have secure jobs, to really address the impacts of the coal economy is going to be huge. So I think it's a good start. I think it's a massive positive opportunity, but it really is going to depend on some serious commitment from government and then some very good people who help us make that change to really stop our addiction to coal. It's going to take a lot of effort from all sides.
What really works for most things, particularly political arguments, is economics. And I mean, we've seen in the latest round of the sort of renewable energy bid window 5 that was released last week at the height of the last round of load shedding, that the price for electricity there, 42 cents per kilowatt hour for some of those projects, is exactly the same as coal, 42 cents per kilowatt hour. But that's only the price of the coal. In other words, renewable energy is really cheaper because it doesn't take into account the cost of refurbishing and maintaining power stations. What I'm trying to say is, when you get to the point where renewable energy is cheaper, the argument is pretty much won.
Absolutely, Stephen. And actually, globally, to install and start up a new renewable energy center is cheaper now than to decommission coal. So actually, the economics is there right across the board. Not only have we had this big injection of cash, but actually, when we start afresh and we look at new renewable energy, it works out cheaper than to keep running coal power plants. So there's really no question anymore. The question lies in how we do it, how it works, making sure we use those funds effectively to do the job that they're meant to do, and also that the political will is there.
There's also deforestation, and the reason I bring this up is that coal puts carbon into the atmosphere. It puts a whole lot of other rubbish into the atmosphere too. But trees generally take it out. Now, deforestation is not something we talk about much in South Africa, but it matters to Brazil. I think it matters to Indonesia. I think Vietnam's a country that people mention. How important are the agreements around that, this idea to end deforestation by 2030?
It's a really interesting question, Stephen, and it's a critical one. Forests, and we all rely on our forests. So forests are one of the areas where we see a serious possible tipping point for climate change. And if we hit a tipping point, it means there is going to be very little ways, even if we try our very best with coal, to make a difference. So we need to stop deforestation. And as much as we don't have those big forests, we are a big consumer of forest products. And even if you go for forest certified wood, which most people can't find or can't afford, really, it's another area that we have absolutely need to change how we're consuming paper, wood, how we use that product. It's not just that it's the cheapest biofuel for people as an energy source, which is a massive problem, but it's also about how we live our lives. Most people in society buy wood in many, many products. And we can also see one of the big problems with deforestation is palm oil. Palm oil plantations all around the world. Palm oil is in almost all products we buy in our supermarket these days, from our shampoo to our chips to our cookies to our chocolates, and that causes massive deforestation. So palm oil is a big part of that. When they say we want to stop deforestation, that we need to stop using palm oil in everything, and that's right across South Africa.
Francesca de Gasperis, thanks very much indeed. I really appreciate the time, from the Southern African Faith Communities Environmental Institute. A lot going